Coach.
Val
Hey
the
there.
voice. What's up, girl?
How's it going?
Man, I'm just chilling.
I know this
78
is
degrees.
Talk on Tuesdays, and man, we got a lot to get to on today. It was a very busy weekend in sports, but also entertainment. So yeah, I guess we'll get to all of that, right, sir?
You already know it.
Talk on Tuesdays. We're getting ready in 3, 2. Here we go.
Man, oh man. And speaking of jumping out here, Val, I need to send a super duper shout out to my little bro who always followed me. My guy, Johnny Pratt, said, hello, shout out to Val and Coach Tony. What's up, JP? Down there, East St. Louis. Yeah,
Hey,
that's like an extension. You know, Val, East St. Louis, like an extension to the West Side.
pretty much so,
Yeah.
which is always good, which is always good. Oh my gosh. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And give us a shout in the chat since you are here. I mean, let us know that you're here. We got some folks. Oh, okay. I see who he is. Johnny Pratt. What's up? What's
Yeah.
up?
Already early to the house. He always that guy that always get to the trick or treat party early, Val. He don't wait. You know, walking
And
the
of
house,
course,
he
our
already
girl
there.
April Wheaton White is in the building.
Hey,
Grand
bro,
Rising. How are you, ma'am? Good to see you.
K
Oh
Springer,
my.
what's up, my guy?
Yes, I know. What is up? What is up? That's what I'm talking about. Well, this is Talk on Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, we're so excited that you are here with us. And of course, I am so happy to let you all know a DJ saved my life. That's right. Val the Voice Johnson. It is the new ebook that is coming out. We're going to be revealing the cover very, very soon.
Ooh,
Pre-sales we have they're available, coach, and they're releasing I think at the end of this week. I think things went to the editor today.
okay, okay,
Ooh,
that's nice. That's,
I
hey,
know.
hey, and like Val keep telling you guys, don't wait on a copy. Get you a copy.
Oh my gosh. And I want to give a special shout out to some folks that went ahead and got it. Karina Lemons out of North Carolina. Thank you so very much. Robin out of Florida. Miles. Also, Nicole Thomas representing Brooklyn. Terry London here in Chicago. Rita Pilot. Uh, oh my gosh. Just Carla Hill. And then, of course, Mr. Springer, our very own moderator. Thank you so very much for doing that. Satish Savoy and also Terrence P. Elmore. Thank you so very much. But a DJ Saved My Life will go ahead. You guys can scan the QR code that you see, or you can get it in the chat. And of course, we have our own Patreon. Go ahead and join our community today. And that's patreon.com/interludes. And of course, our affiliate sponsor for the Pull Up Podcast, as well as Interludes Extra, is Key
Yeah.
Spot by
Spot.
Quality. Key Spot. That's right. If you're a small business and you want to get the word out about your business, go ahead and sign up with Key Spot in partnership here with Pure Lighthouse Media. Oh my gosh, I think we've done all of that. So, coach, there's a lot happening. I want to just jump right in
Yes,
to it.
I know, and I know you set up on them Emmys this weekend. I know you did.
I know. And I want to make sure I mention it is Women's History Month. March is Women's History Month. But so definitely Emmys is television. That was a couple of months. I think it was a couple of months ago, but
I
it
mean, I
was
don't know
the
why I meant the
Oscars.
Oscars. I don't know why I
The
said the
Oscars.
Emmys. Yes.
Right. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. Do you watch The Breakfast Club?
Oh, for sure. I watched them. Yeah.
They're one of my favorite shows. They are based out of New York at 105.1 FM. And they also have a deal with iHeartRadio as well as BET. They stream on there as well. So they had a gospel artist, Ty Tribbett. Are you familiar with him?
Not too much. Let me know. What's that?
Oh, okay. Ty Tribbett. This is Pastor Mike. We'll get to him in a
I
second.
know
But
Pastor Mike. Yeah.
uh, oh my gosh. Well, Ty was on he for the first time had won 2 Grammys, I think 3 Grammys this past Grammy season. And what happened was is they had him on the show. We did like a 45 to 50-minute interview with Jess Hilarious. She just got hired on by the Breakfast Club, and then
Yep. Just
Charlemagne.
Yep.
Yeah, Charlemagne, and of course DJ Envy. So they're talking with him, and come to find out, a lot of good things about him, and a pastor. He's been singing for a long time. Was nominated for 13 Grammys, and this was his first time winning. He's been in the business for well over 25 years, and he just
Wow.
his Grammy. So I guess they had him on to talk about all that success and everything.
Man.
And we heard him say these words. The church is whack, the system is whack, the structure is whack.
Wow.
It's like what am I hearing?
Basically, God is not the church. Can I get an amen up here? That's like Val. He must be from the old school where they had that building fund. But do you notice there was never a building ever built? But they had that building fund. You come back 2 years later to that same church, like they what y'all got? The kids program over here? No, still got that building fund though, still raising.
It's still going. It's still going. Now, for my church people that's out there, because Ty Tribbett, he has been recording for a long time. I love a lot of the music that he does. If you've ever seen him in person, Coach, he is hype. Woo, he is hype. He'll make you want to jump over the chairs and just get to things. So when I heard the entirety of the 45 to 50 minute interview, I got what he was saying. Just kind of the systems and things that are set in place, because people forget that church is a business.
Yes.
They got light bills to pay. They got the building fund to pay for. In other words, They have mortgage. All the bills you have as a person, they have as well.
The only thing that you get free is when the motherboard bring that food up there and everybody get a chance to eat at 1:00. 1:30.
Exactly. So they have all the same bills that we have running our own households. And so when he talked about kind of the system and things being whack, he even, I think later in the interview, I know I heard him say, I'm not trying to say that church is whack in per se, but it was kind of the structures that are set up and kind of the religiology. What was that?
That's kind of like the system they've got put in place.
Right, exactly. Just kind of that. And so here's the thing. If I tell you, Coach, that my church is whack, would you want to come to it?
No, I ain't trying to see none of that. Hey, wait a minute. You know me, like the hood theater. I may want to come to your church just to see how whack it is. So that may be that weekend I need a laugh. I'm gonna go hang out with that for a minute.
So because you have folks that probably have never entered into a church.
Correct.
And the Breakfast Club is kind of that, I want to call it a secular
and those that watch the church on TV think they at the church.
Exactly, right. So yes. So the thing of it is that the Breakfast Club is for everybody. Anyone can come on. Anyone that they approve can come on. And so him kind of representing the church saying it's whack, I knew, I was like, I've got to hear the whole thing because they're probably going to misinterpret what he's saying. But here's
Correct.
the thing. If you want to attract people to the church, and even throughout the interview, he talked about some things that had him go against it. He was a preacher's kid. I didn't know that,
Uh,
coach. He was a
so,
preacher's
so, so,
kid.
so he's a preacher kid. How old is Ty?
He's in his late 40s. I think he said he's
So, so
48.
he's in
Mhm.
his late 40s, a preacher's kid. So he came up through that real church way before
Mhm.
Joe Osteen and way before Cleflo was trying to get on and get him an airplane, right? And right as TD
Mhm.
Jakes may have been breaking into whatever. So he came through that old school church that was doing so as old. So he's seen the old school style, right? The mother's board, the deacon board, the preacher, the
Mhm.
baptism, the church, the choir, the whole 9 yards. He's seen all that. So now, post pandemic, he's seeing quasi, the new church. And that's his perspective on the new church.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to discuss something that is whack about church, you talk to the church people about it. I
There you
don't
go.
know if you I don't know if you should bring it to the masses. On average, the Breakfast Club has anywhere between 1 to 5 million listeners. And if you want to make the church attractive, whatever those issues are, I say deal with those issues within the church and then, you know, present it to everyone. But here's the thing. I get it. There's been so many things that's been done and swept under the rug and
Yep.
not out and about. But here you are. I know the number one reason they had him on was to celebrate his Grammy wins that he had. And he hadn't won for all the years he's been recording. I get that. But Ty, people, I mean, they want to burn him. They want to burn him at the stake, coach, because he
Hey,
said
I
church
mean,
is whack.
freedom of speech. And I think you hit it on the head a moment ago, Val.
Mhm.
Like he just said a moment ago, you said at the top of the explanation, church is a what? A business.
It's a
It's a
business.
business, man.
Mhm.
So he's just trying to let you know, compared to what I came up in, as a preacher's kid, right? I'm sure he probably went to church 4, 5 days a week. And now he's watching people make the loot in one day. Ain't nobody have no extra services throughout the week. People are like, come on,
Right,
man.
exactly.
This ain't even what church is all about. Because I remember I used to hate
Exactly.
church back in the day. Get up at 7 in the morning, we in early service, we in the regular service, we get some food at 1:30, come back for the afternoons. I told the preacher, your voice gotta be hurting, man.
But here's the thing. It's and some of the things that he talked about, and I agree with, is that it's all about the relationship that you have with God.
Right.
Uh, church and here's the thing. I've been taught that the community of church is good. It's biblical to have that community. And if there's an issue within the community, you deal with it within the community. If I'll deal with it like in playing basketball. If I play for, what's the team you have on your jersey,
Hey,
coach?
I like that because I see my man, Coach Justin, talking about I'm dressed like I'm in a Bud Rim. I'm like Flip on a Bud Rim, come up out of retirement and still give you 25. And we working on, it's tournament time, Val. So these are beloved Alana now, baby. Come on now.
Okay, so let's say you are the coach of the
Illinois.
Fighting Alumni. Right.
Yep.
Now, if you were being interviewed as a coach
All right.
about the Fighting Illini, and you say, you know what, the system here at the Fighting Illini is whack. Do you think any parent want to send their kids to the whack system in Illinois?
No, I think I'll be in AD's office probably an hour after I make that statement, and I'll probably be looking for a new school. This is whack. See what I'm saying? And I know ain't no parent sending no kids up in no whack school because they not trying to go whack, they trying to go exact. You know what I'm saying?
So I like I said, I completely understand why he said it, but I
Let
think
me
the
ask you a question,
Breakfast
Val.
Club
Let
was
me ask
not
you.
the place for it. The Breakfast Club was not the place for it. What you got, coach?
So let me ask you a question. So let's go back to
Mhm.
his comment, right?
Okay.
So he talks about the church being whack. He talks about why he thought the church was whack and all that. Did you think that his saying the church is whack and his explanation of why he says whack, did you think that they were on par with one another, or they were like far from one another?
I think they were on par, and like I said, you had to watch the entirety of the interview to kind of get where he was going, because
Yeah, because
he
Charlamagne the
has this
God was chopping you up.
right. He had this statement early on in in the interview, probably like 10 or 15 minutes in. That's when he started going in on that. But what led up to that was you had Envy and Charlemagne kind of asking him about his background, about,
Right.
how did you come up? And he went ahead and gave those explanations. And I'm like, okay. But he says, but like right now, I feel like, the church, the system is whack, and the church is whack. And I was just thinking to myself, okay, where is he going with this? So if I'm someone that's just clipping that part, then I'm gonna fire up people like you see right here. Pastor Mike out of Atlanta just went
I
in.
mean, you got to look at it like this too, Val. You know, he's a Grammy winner. He's got a voice. He's got the following. And thank you, April. He's putting out 50 to 100 stacks just to get it. So if you wanted
Mhm.
to hear him, like you said, if he making you get up out your seat, and matter of fact, I want to invite him down to Interludes Talk on Tuesday, because we have a ultimate building fund, and we can wait till he start talking to Pastor Trey. You see what I'm saying? Because if he's demanding 50 to 100,000 stacks just to make an appearance, you have to figure, Val, that his following, the people that's listening to him, are actually believing what he said. I would just like to know, since he said the system is whack, I really would like to hear his opinion on basically those top three preachers worldwide, which is in Cleflo and Joel Osteen and TD Jakes. I would really like to hear his opinion on why he thinks it's whack, and then what he feels about those top preachers that are way up here at the echelon, just like Preacher Mike. What was his comments about it?
Right, exactly. So with Pastor Mike, he has a large church there in Atlanta.
Right.
And he literally, now he's about 10 years younger than Ty, but he says that I don't according to the Atlanta Black Star, he says I don't subscribe to it. And he says he calls Ty Tribbett irresponsible for calling the institution of church whack. And so he says that the comments were irresponsible, and he will not. He says that the that Tide would not be the Grammy nominated or the Grammy award winning singer without the church support.
Correct.
And so I get that. I get that. It's
Yep.
it's like
Because it's in that space.
because as I told you, if you're the coach of the Fighting Illini there here in Illinois, if you get interviewed as a coach and say that the system of the school is whack, are kids going to send their children to your school after you've said that about the coach about the basketball program?
Not at
No.
all. What most people are going to know, they're going to want to know what you just said. They want to know an explanation why you're calling the institution whack. Now, if
Right.
it's an explanation of you calling the institution whack, because let's say, for example, it was way back when maybe we couldn't get a lot of African American on the team because that was just the playing time. Then maybe they could understand that, and then you have that one African American parent that says, you know something, eventually this has got to break. So we want to be that one. But you're looking at today's time. So when you're calling something whack or out of pocket or not up to par, then you must have a heck of a good reason to say that, because, as Pastor Mike said, if you're calling the church whack, what are you calling his people? And if you calling the church and his people whack, then how do you think you became the artist that you became? Because if I take away those church people, you are whacked as well, because that means you have nothing. So that's an interesting spin on that.
And so, and Queen April says it best. She says, yes, address issues of the church with the church. That's an appropriate conversation to have with your church or the folks in within your thing. And according to Atlanta Black Star, this was Pastor Mike. How can you go on a national platform, like the Breakfast Club, and totally throw under the bus the very institution that made you who you are?
Yeah,
That was
again,
Pastor Mike.
that I really don't listen to his word on that, but I've got to agree with Pastor Mike. The only reason why, now what April just said, I understand that, but if you're looking at it on the right hand, why deal with the issue of the church with the church unless because sometimes we don't always have the church quasi the leader at the head of the church always doing the correct thing, right? So sometimes you have to address it, not that you have to address it with a Breakfast Club type situation, because Charlemagne sometimes don't play fair. You and I both know that. So, but if you're looking at what Pastor Mike said, if you're going to call the church whack, so let's go ahead and call out the issue. But if you're going to do that, what about bringing the church you're talking about? Like April said, bring the church pastor you're talking about. Let's sit down at a round table, and then you put your differences on the table, and then you say, here's the problem I have with your church, because the same problems and same issues you may have with this black church, Joel Osteen don't have that problem with the white church or the mixed congregation he has.
Yeah,
Because
and here's
we're going to see
and
that
here's
totally differently.
right. And so it's to me, because I really like him as an artist. And I've seen him perform live. If you've never seen him perform live, it's a treat. But I was thinking, I'm like, if you want to make the church attractive, especially on a national platform like the Breakfast Club, going in, I totally understand why he started off in the rant of the system is whack, church is whack. That was just unfortunately not the right platform to go
Right.
in on what he's seen irresponsible about the church. You could talk about church hurt. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with
Right.
you expressing, you saw some hypocritical things happen. Because a lot of things, one thing I'll say for my own self, I got upset about something that happened at my church, and I blasted it on social media. And the people, they pulled my collar and was like, why didn't you talk to us first?
Correct.
Why
But
didn't
Val,
you
you
say
don't think
something
that's
to
the
us?
situation. We,
Mm-hmm.
we, we are now at a situation, because here's two questions I got for you. One, I
Mm-hmm.
understand he made the comment about the system and structure is whack, but I want you to explain real quick, because maybe we didn't get it or we passed it by. I want you to explain the piece where he says up top on learning that God is not the church. I really want to understand his explanation there. And then the second piece is what you just said. Social media, I don't care if it's from the church to your normal life. I see that all these hip hop stars, not hip hop, but these Atlanta housewives, the housewives of New Jersey, all these shows. If it's not for the internet or social media, these shows would not be popular, nor would they make a hit, because we watch this stuff and we sit and say at our house, they crazy. Ain't no way in the world I put my people out there like that, woo, 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 this and that. And the next week we turn it right back on. So the thing is, if he's saying the church is whack and God is not the church, then my question to him is that time, are you going back up in the church next Sunday? Because if it's all that whack, I wouldn't be, I would, because that goes back to what you just asked me. If you, not only are you trying to be recruited to my university that I call whack, but if you are a current player, Val, and you're playing for me on my team, and I say the structure and the team of this is whack, are you coming back next year to play for me, or are you looking for a new school to transfer to?
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the reason why I was thinking that's kind of the best thing. Um, God is not the church. That's one statement that he made, and the church
And what was his
is.
explanation of that?
Yeah, he went into that a little bit, but for myself, I know that we as the congregation, we're the people that make up the church.
Right.
But ultimately, God is honored, and it's biblical. I wish I could come up with the scriptures that support and back that, but it's a matter of, we want to make coming to, number one, not necessarily to the church, but we want to make a coming to becoming a Christian and Jesus attractive. There's nothing attractive about Jesus if you're saying that the people that's on the team, like
Right.
coaching, like the
Right.
team, is whack. Like
Right.
us, as someone that has a deep conviction. When I say I have a deep conviction about attending church, because it is not for myself, it is for others, that we are, there's a scripture in Hebrews that say that, let us not give up meeting together. Let's gather together, because we're trying to encourage each other to get to heaven. That's the goal. And
Yeah.
so I want to look to you in the same way of coaching a basketball team like you do, Coach Tony. You want to make sure that the players come and that they are able to, have that camaraderie, so that
And they
they
learn.
can not,
They
not
learn.
only win, not only play the game, but win games.
Right. And learn in the process. Because you go to church to learn, right? That's why you start the children at a young age, so they can learn who Jesus was.
Mhm.
They can learn, why so many things and I think April hit on head. Yo, Ty, I want to know when you check out the podcast right here on Interludes Talk on Tuesday, baby. Come to Interlude. Don't talk to Solomon the God. Come talk to your boy right here, Coach Tony, the Valve voice. Because I really wants to get up in here. It's like a pot of gumbo, baby. I'm trying to find out what you're saying behind what you're saying. Because we're gonna treat you right. I'm not gonna be like Solomon and dump all on you, because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to open up the heart. So because now, you like you just said, you got followers, because a lot of people, and I don't care if you're Catholic, Protestant, you're Methodist, you're Baptist, whatever it may be, whoever that you're listening to, you're Muslim, whatever it is, your well-being, your pastor, your preacher, your Catholic, your priest, whatever it is you listen to, it's about the word, it's about the spirit, and it's about what you believe in from what they're saying. And if the person from top up is not talking to what you're trying to perceive or hear and gather, then there's a problem.
Yeah. And like I said, I totally Kevin agrees with you. He says that's right, Coach. And of course, Queen April says, go ahead, have Pastor
Right.
Ty come
On
on
this
in.
show, we're gonna send you a tape of this show. But I'm gonna need you to come up in here on Talk on Tuesday, baby, so we can talk. That's what we do over here. We talk. Let's bring it out. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, he's got a song called Victory. I was thinking, you know how many bad moods that song got me out of? And I'm hyped. And here's the thing. Um, it's weird if you remember 2 years ago, and we're going to be talking about the Oscars soon, but I wanted to celebrate Will's win in getting for King Richard, but everyone's talking about the slap. We
Yes.
wanted to celebrate Ty's. Ty Tribbett finally won, not one, not two, but 3 Grammys this past year. That's why he came on the Breakfast Club, to celebrate that. But everybody's talking about the church is whack. So that's
Yeah,
a slap to the church.
that's because Val, this should have been broadcast on April 1st, so he could just say he was tripping and that was April Fool's joke. But we know that's not true. But all I'm saying is that when you're looking at this, you know, again, you cannot smack the people that's making you famous. And I get what
Mhm.
Patrick Michael said. He said, "Hey, if all this was whack, then give back the honorees, right? Give back the people that supported you and tell them they whack too, because that's basically what you're saying, you know. And, and,
And
and again, maybe it's, as you know how they sometimes say, it's a play on words. Maybe we didn't catch the play on word. Maybe he was saying that into one of his songs and we didn't listen to it on one of the albums. So that's why I'm saying, Brother Ty, come on up in here on Talk on Tuesday, baby, and holler at your boy.
so yeah, so anyway, but so ultimately I literally just wanted to have a chit chat about that, because like I said, he is an artist that I well respect. When I heard the entirety of the interview, I got it. However, the Breakfast Club, if you have an issue with church on a secular show like the Breakfast Club, that's not the place to have that conversation. You
And the
have that
last question on that,
conversation.
what did Charlemagne the God say? Because I know he had to say
I
something.
I don't. He said so. He said a couple of things that were a little goofy, and that's the reason why I'm not going to get into it. Because think
I
about
get it.
his name. So we not. I'm not getting into that. That's why I focused in on Ty Tribbett and not everybody else. The only thing is, I will say this: Just Hilarious has been a good addition to the Breakfast Club.
Oh
So
yeah,
major
very
kudos
good.
for you
Yeah,
guys bringing her on.
yeah, she's been phenomenal. Replacing my girl, even though my girl got her own show and is doing very well. But it's good
Angela
to get.
Yee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my Yeezy in the morning. So she's been doing very well. I listen to her almost every day.
All right, let's get to these Oscars. We're gonna go through this a little bit quickly here. Did you get a chance to see any of it?
A little bit, at least I'm really happy, Val, because there's an Oscar, but I got my own award too. It's called the Tony. I think I'm a little bit bigger than the Oscar on right there, Tony Awards. That'll be coming up next.
I know, I know. Jimmy Kimmel, I think he's been hosting now. Oh, this is probably going on the third or fourth. No, he came back. He took a break, but now he's back. So it's good to see him. He has his own late night talk show. He kept
So
going after people in that monologue. So that was always interesting and fun. I always like
I
to see who he's going to go
love
after.
this. And speaking of the person going after, I think the 45th or the 46th said some crazy crap about it as a point about him, they could have got a better host. He was a little fat and could have got your boy, George Stephanopoulos up. I'm like, come on now, who? And then talking about he should have never even been the host of the show. And I love Kimmel. Kimmel came back and said, hold on. Ain't it a little bit past your jail time right now? Boy,
Wow.
when he said that, I fell out. See, you be sleeping in a 10 by 10 right now.
I'm telling you, all of the late night talk shows go after Trump, but I feel like Jimmy Kimmel and Seth.
Oh yeah, Seth. What's Seth? Seth Whedon.
What's Seth? Yeah, what's his last name? I always forget his last name, but they go after him in such. They go for the jugular. I
Because
think
he's always said something about those two. He was on Stephen
Seth
Colbert back
Meyers.
still Stephen Colbert buried him, because Stephen Colbert don't play that. He come right
Yes,
at you.
Stephen Colbert goes after him too, but Seth
So,
Meyers and Jimmy
Seth Meyers,
Kimmel.
yeah.
Yeah, they go after him like it's nobody's business. Kevin said, yes, that was a hilarious comeback line toward Trump by Jimmy Kimmel.
But
Very
he had
much
the
so.
whole crowd. I think I saw a couple people spit out their drink. That was so because he hit him off the curb. You know what I'm saying?
Because here's the thing, hosting the show is just, it can be tough because you have everyone there. They're there for their award or they're there to be honored, however that goes. And you have to keep things moving or at least keep people entertained by cracking jokes. Now, I think one of the jokes went a little weird. They had like the 50-year streaker or something. So they had John Cena come out with an envelope and he was, I guess, naked behind the envelope. And I'm like, okay,
Well, they
and
found out that
he
he
looked
wasn't naked.
uncomfortable.
They
Huh?
found out he wasn't naked. He actually had, that was whoever designed that was a pretty good designer. It was a skin tight, body colored nude bodysuit. So it looked like he was naked, but it was actually covered all the way down. So he was kind of covered, but he was ass out.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When they went away to present the award and they came back, I think it was for costume design. He had on like a toga or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, you should have just had that on. But I was like, we don't have to. We don't. I mean, now I could tell he was built. I'm like, oh, okay, he's been working out. But I'm like, we don't have to honor that when they had a streaker 50 years ago. We don't care. Was anybody around 50
Hey,
years ago to remember the streaker? No,
hey,
no.
toga, Bill Murray, toga.
And April's letting us know that Jimmy Kimmel's wife is one of the executive producers of the Oscars. I didn't know that.
Exactly. And that's
Mhm.
what was going to that's why I thought he was going to go on that joke. I thought after he had said, isn't it past your jail time? And by the way, Where's your wife at? 'Cause don't seem to be like she with you at any of your events. Talking about some, she was getting some rest. Said she done rested at all seven of them.
Oh my gosh. One of the big winners of the evening who ended up winning Best Picture is Oppenheimer. And
And
that
Wendell's
was,
guy, Val,
how was that?
that was Wendell, our guest that was on from New York. I've been talking to his main guy. Congratulations. And Wendell, you listen tonight because I know I sent you the show. Congratulations to him and his crew. He had one of his guys that's a film guy that's a member of the Oppenheimer crew. So that's big kudos to Wendell and the guys up there in NYC.
Yeah, yeah. And so Christopher Nolan, the producing team for Oppenheimer, they have been working on films with Christopher Nolan over the last decade or so. And so that's one of the lead producers for Oppenheimer. It won 7 Oscars
Yes.
on Sunday. And
Crazy.
like I said, I saw it. It was 3 hours. I watched it in 2 parts while I was here. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting topic. I feel like it wasn't Christopher Nolan's best, but the music is moody. They talk about the making of an atomic bomb. I say if you have an interest in World War II and the atomic bomb making, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., who also won an Oscar for Best Supporting, Matt Damon, a brilliant cast around Cillian Murphy, who ends up winning for best actor. But like I said, and cinematography won also as well. So
Yes.
I'm biased because it's Christopher Nolan. And here's the thing. Christopher Nolan was on the campaign trail to promote the film because the actors joined the writers strike right
Writers
when
Guild.
Oppenheimer came out. Do you remember that?
Yep, the Writers Guild. Everyone join in. Yes, I do.
And they
And that's
they were
when
at a premiere overseas. It was Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Robert. It was all those guys, and they literally left the event because they got word out of Los Angeles that the SAG AFTRA was going on strike and joining the writers. So I was like, wow. But
yeah, I remember that.
major
Yeah.
kudos to Christopher Nolan for promoting it.
Oh yeah, that was phenomenal. Now the crazy part behind that, did you get an opportunity, Val, to see the fallout behind the Oppenheimer movie? That's real life from Death Valley, California, New Mexico, and Nevada, where they did back in the day a lot of the nuclear bomb testing. Did you see that today?
I didn't see that today, but I did hear about some of the fallout behind the film. What did
Yeah,
it say?
because basically that while we watched the film and we glorified it and all that, there were a segment of the community, real population from behind that, from those nuclear testing, that everyone in this particular town has died or have cancer. And if they don't have cancer, they've got it in their system. It's just a matter of time. So it was really heartening to listen to that this morning, like, wow, seriously. And then like they said, at the end of the movie, if the movie would have just paid like 1 or 2 paragraph tributes, like, I know you just watched this movie, thank you very much. But in reality, this is based on a fictional movie. But in reality, this has been depicted as a real situation happening in XYZ area in the United States, and people have died behind this or currently have cancer. This movie, it would have been, it went off differently because when you then put a movie to reality, God, Val, that's kind of heartening. Then it's just like you giving these awards out, but you haven't even recognized these people that is really hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There was another series, the gentleman who did the killings in Milwaukee. I
Yes,
can't think of yeah, so the actress Niecy Nash won for what was it? Dahmer? Was it?
Dahmer. Yes,
Yeah,
Dahmer. Yeah.
so yeah, so she was in the film. They unfortunately did not contact the families to let them know that they were going to do this film or do
Yeah,
this
and I
series.
saw that there was some kickback on a few people and all that because it rehashed the whole situation. Because he was as worse as John Wayne Gacy, except he ate people.
Yeah, yeah. So the hit when making these films, and they're great and all the rest of that. Here's the thing. I always think just have be responsible and let the families know you're going to do this, or kind of that heads up. I feel like if you give people a heads up, or as you said, an acknowledgement at the end of the film, I think that would have I don't know if it would have been that much pushback. But
Yes.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Best actor. Let me keep it moving here. Best actor. I'm gonna say the presentation of how they did things this year was a little bit different, and I really liked what they did. Now, of course, usually they have in the actor categories, they always have the person that won the previous year, actually, go over the all of the 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 nominees, but they did something a little bit different. They had different actors, 5 different actors, come on and talk about that with, they literally address them. I'm sorry, I'm skipping past this. I want to make sure that I bring this out. Chris Bowers and Ben Proudfoot, they won documentary short for The Last Repair Shop. That's about a repair shop in Los Angeles. And I remember seeing this short online. It's actually available on YouTube. And Chris Bowers, I don't know if you know who he is. He's done a lot of scoring for a lot of our Black films as well as other films in the industry. So it was about promoting and, getting the knowledge out about, music instruments for schools, which is wonderful. So if you
Right.
haven't seen this documentary short, congratulations to both Chris Bowers, and he had one of the students there accepting with Ben as well as Chris. So yeah, I wanted to shout that out.
Oh, that's
But
sweet.
so back to what I was talking about. The oh yeah, and the Ken, that was
Oh, the Ken stole the show. I mean, it's so funny that they keep on. I was wondering if you're going to bring that up because it's so funny. They keep on talking about Barbie this and Barbie that, and all the Barbie fans. And I know few people that's on there. All the Barbie fans are waiting on her. But how is it that no matter what show after show, that Ken keeps getting all these awards?
and so Ryan Gosling was the actor that was nominated for the Barbie movie, and of course, but everyone was wondering how come. And here she is, the director of Barbie, was not nominated for direction of Barbie, as well as some other things. And then the Killers of the Flower Moon, there's was the people that performed for the music for that. I was very happy to see this represented a Native American tongue. And of course, in the best actress category, I was rooting for Lily Gladstone for um, um, Killers of the Flower Moon, but it ended up going to Emma Stone. But what I liked, and this is what I'll get back to, with the actor categories, they had 5 actors come out and present to or talk to each actor that was nominated. And here, Jennifer, this is not Jennifer Hudson. This is Jennifer. Why am I forgetting her last name? But she spoke to Lily Gladstone about, her nomination. Another one that was kind of cool was Sally Field speaking
Yeah.
to the winner, Emmy Stone, and
Who had a button or two that broke the back of her dress, trying to
her,
jam
but
on
yeah,
the
she had
Ken
a
song.
dress. She had a dress malfunction because I think she didn't feel like she was going to win. But so congratulations to Emma Stone for the film. And so I'm sitting here going, okay, well, but I feel like the way they spoke to each actor, I felt like you won. Even though if you didn't win the category, you had a former person that won actually say you did a great job, at a girl, at a boy, however that works. And I'm thinking that's a great way to pass the baton, because the Oscars had to find another unique way to have those awards presented, because of
Well,
Will.
that unique way would be at the end, Mr. Al Pacino, because
He did for best.
they talked about the way he presented the movie of the year, Oppenheimer, and he didn't mention the other 10 that were nominated. But when they went back and talked to him this morning on the news, they were saying that it was they went back and they did an interview, and Gail actually talked to someone, and she said that after she spoke to the powers that be, it was set up that way because all the shows, and I don't even know if you know this, Val, but all the shows had been mentioned over and over and over and over again throughout the night. So
Right.
people probably got a gist of who was going to be in the nomination. So it was set up for Pacino to deliver it like that, but he did it in his Pacino voice, so it didn't go over so well.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. I think at every break when they would go out for a break and come back, they would say, "Okay, and this film is nominated for Best Picture," and they would show a clip of the film and then go right to the next situation. Billie Eilish, I knew this was going to win for Best Song. What was I made for? That was from the Barbie film, and like I said, I saw the Barbie film. I wasn't gonna see it because I'm thinking it's Barbie. I don't know what it's about. Thank you so much, El Michelle, for the shout out about it being a great show. But I saw Barbie and I'm like, I don't want to see it. But then when I saw the film and I saw this wonderful monologue delivered by Mara Fiera, I was like, oh yes, now I understand. I got emotional. I was laughing. It had all of these feelings come up in me. So I get it. So I understand why this won for best song. So congratulations to Billie Eilish. She always does stuff with her brother, Mr.
Yes,
O'Connor. Hmm.
that's dope. That's good. We bring your
Yeah,
family up in there.
but the biggest takeaway and the biggest win, very few people of African American descent have won in this category of screenplay or adapted screenplay. We reviewed American Fiction on this platform, and
Yes,
so
we did.
congratulations to first time director and screenwriter Cord Jefferson for his win on Oscar night. And I'm telling you, man, I was leaping and happy that they won adapted screenplay because he was winning in other areas. I wanted Jeffrey Wright to win for best actor, but I knew there's other people ahead of him that won. And then I was rooting for, of course, this gentleman here, Sterling K. Brown, to win for supporting. But I'm like,
But you
I
know
knew
what?
it was
The good thing
Hamilton.
about him was that he was a journalist and submitted over 10 years of a screenplay and finally got it accepted once. And then it was boom, and now he's on. No one would ever call him back, and now his phone can't stop. No, yeah. I'm just glad my homeboy right there. You like Tiger Woods? I like Tiger Woods. Shout out. Got his award. That's my man's
Jeffrey,
in there. That's my man's in there. You know what I'm saying?
if you have not seen American Fiction, I cannot over recommend the film. I'm telling you guys, check it out. It is one of those films that makes you laugh, makes you cry, and dealing with caregiving for an aging parent. That's one of the beauty things. Leslie Uggams, brilliant in her role. Tracy Ellis Ross, funny. I couldn't see enough of her. Erica Alexander, Max from Living Single, she's in it as well. And of course, our two gentlemen here, Sterling K. Brown and Jeffrey Wright. But I'm just so grateful that the nomination, great, but the screenplay won. So I'm really happy about that. Oh my gosh, we're going to get to some sports.
Let's do it,
Oh
man.
my
This.
goodness.
You talking
Let's get
about,
this.
hey, Ty should have been on the sports side of our coast. We real up in this sports. We ain't nothing fake up here. Ain't no coaches up here that fake. We put it, we get it in. I mean, if you one of the best weekends ever. Again, I keep telling people, if you're not tuning in, yeah, we know this the month of women, right? But if you're not tuning in to women's basketball, you cannot call yourself a sports junkie or loving sports because the women's basketball game and what they're doing, they are allowing them to put this game on the map. Me and Coach Allen, Justin, who just made the comment about the Buzz Rim, we were laughing and joking, you know, earlier this weekend, Val, saying that the referees are allowing these women to basically get more physical, play a little more bump and grind because they don't think that that's why their NBA is not giving the WNBA money. They don't see that these women are playing physical enough. Well, Sunday, that young lady right there, my girl, Dawn Chanel / Gucci / Prada / whatever else I got, Staley has got the hottest team in the country at 30-0. And they went up against, excuse me, none other than Angel Reese and them LSU Tigers with Kimmy Mulkey. And right there, Mrs. I don't know what she gonna wear to a game because it's just one day I may have a checkerboard on, and next day I may wear a poker table. And if I'm feeling good, I may have a roulette table on my back with some dice on the front. That's just Kim Mulkey, you know what I'm saying? But right there, stop it. As they say on my boy Marlon, stop the presses. Stop the presses right here. You had a situation, Val, and I don't know if you had an opportunity. Did you watch the game Sunday?
I saw the highlights of the game, and I saw where there was a hair pull and some other things that happened early.
It wasn't even a hair pull. Let's stop it. Don't even move that. We're gonna get to this point right here. So what happened was these two teams are the best two teams in the SEC and probably will end up being in the Final Four again. But there's some situation going on you must know about in case you got some from some promotional purposes only. Later, I'm gonna tell you about that. But you have got Flojo. Now you know Flojo, the little guard that plays at LSU with Angel Reese. Remember they were buddied up last year, and you and I also covered on our show the situation with Flo and Reese's mama when they butted head. Remember we were talking about why they got out like that. They teammates. So they back to loving one another because the season must continue. So my girl Fuwali, who plays at South Carolina, a real soft freshman guard. Oh, she the business. And we will see her in the WNBA uniform in the future. But what led up to this situation was about 3.5 minutes ago in the game, Fuwali had the ball on the South Carolina side of the house, and Flojo, bam, picked her and went down and scored a basket and turned around and looked at her face. Val like, wow, gave her the flex mode, bam, gave her the flex. And she looking like you are. She was like, what? Okay. So with about 2 minutes and some change left to go in the game, now Flojo got the ball, tried to cross Fuwali over. She picked her. But instead of Flojo allowing Fuwali to go down and score the basket or maybe get a foul, she grabbed her at half court and turned her around and did a 360. Fuwali at that point, get up off me. So when she said get up off me and she was walking off the court and Dawn Staley gave her a high foul for stealing the ball, then one of the South Carolina players walked by Flojo and was flexing like, yeah, let's get it. And Flojo shoved her. And when she shoved her, then the center at South Carolina came over and just out of nowhere, blazam, pushed up off of her feet. Her head hits the floor. Referee come over, as you see, trying to break it up. Then Pow, which is one of the best junior guards in the country as a shooter, she then gets involved with it. And then out of nowhere, Flojo's brother jumps over the stand, Val, which you can't come out the stadium. Yeah. So she jumps over the stand and he jumps over the stand and comes on the floor, of which he gets arrested. And then I found out today he got arrested for assault. He got arrested for a battery. He got arrested for intimidation of a player. So now he's put out of the entire NCAA tournament. No matter where they go, he can't come back. He's got to watch it from his house or a bar. He will not be allowed back in the building. So now it took 25 minutes, Val. They stopped the game for 25 minutes after this incident, and both teams cleared, since both teams' benches cleared the floor. So let's explain that in coach's mode. If you and I tussle over basketball, and then that leads to you and I getting into a physical altercation on the floor, and your teammates run off the bench and my teammates run off the bench, the moment that they step onto the floor, they don't even have to make it to you and I. They can just step on the floor. They're considered what they call in the play. They are then at that point, Val, ejected. So
Oh, wow.
they
Mm.
ejected the entire bench of LSU. They ejected the entire bench for South Carolina, and
Oh,
they had to
no.
finish the game with only 5 girls on both sides. Now, the reason why they didn't eject um, Flojo and Angel Reese is because they were already on the floor in the field of play, and neither one of them swung a fist or swung or hit anybody. They were, the victims of the situation. So now, here's the fallout. The fallout is Dawn is going to be without her best center the first game of the tournament. And it is left to be determined. They haven't determined yet whether they're going to suspend the remaining part of the bench, except for the one player that LSU had who did go to the bench. So you may have a situation, Val, until this gets sorted out this week, that LSU and South Carolina might be hosting that first game of the NCAA tournament with only 5 or 6 players. So
Oh,
if I'm a
no.
15 or
Mm-mm.
16 seed, because they're going to be a number 1 and number 2 seed, right? So
Okay.
if I'm a 15 or 16 seed, and I'm coming at you, Val, I'm coming at you with guns a blazing, because now I got 12 girls on my roster and you got 5. So I know me as a coach, I'm gonna tell my girls, if anybody, now I do mean anybody, shoot a jump shot, you coming out of the game. Because if they only got 5 kids, I'm going to the hole every single time. You're either gonna stop me or you're gonna foul me. But that would may be a situation, Val, that for promotional purposes only, you may
Mhm.
have a 16 seed or a 15 seed may get an early go home for South Carolina LSU. That's a potential.
Now, I have a question on the floor from Justin. It says Coach Juju Watkins is averaging 27 points a game as a freshman. Do you think she'll break Caitlin Clark's scoring record if she stays all 4 years?
Yes, I do. I think that right now she's averaging just under 3.5 points per game that Caitlin averaged in her freshman year. Caitlin's got dominating her in terms of the assists, but she's dominating Caitlin in terms of the rebound because of her size. But I think if she stays all 4 years, she will. But I don't think she's going to break it, because I think that 2 years from now, I think Juju Watkins is going to the WNBA. I don't think she's going to stay at USC all 4 years, even though
Okay.
I'm loving that she's now coming to the Big Ten. So this is going to be phenomenal. And by the way,
Yeah.
Val, I don't know if you have the opportunity to queue up or be able to play the comment from Coach Kim Mulkey or from Coach Don Staley, but to let you guys know, they interviewed Coach Kim Mulkey, that you just put up the picture that you just had right there, with Coach Kim Mulkey on the floor. And quote unquote today, she said that it was ridiculous that when you're 6'8" and you're picking on a guard that's maybe 5'9", 5'10", and the weight, the height difference, and all that, you push on the floor. Coach Mulkey said, "I wish you would have pushed Angel Reese on the floor like that." And both of them standing 6'6", 6'7", eye to eye. She wished that she would have pushed her on the floor and saw what happened. She truly believes, even though she is a coach, Val, she
Hmm.
said, if a game gets out of hand and players get into the rough business of shoving and grabbing, make it be like hockey. Leave it up to them 2 players, right? 'Cause hockey, once you take the gloves off and no one falls down, then you can duke it out. The first person that hits the ice loses, but both of y'all going in the penalty box. You know what I'm saying? So she basically said, let them duke it out to the referee can stop, but no one else needs to jump into that situation. I do like the way Don Staley handled it. And you just had Don's photo up, and Don, of course, Don made the first comment because they called Don right after the game, and she was glad they won, obviously, but she said that she really felt terrible based on what happened in the play, because it was a good game. It was really a great game that they were having, and it was a close game that was going to probably be down to the wire. And she said that once she got back to South Carolina, that she would handle it. And if I know Don, oh yeah, it's going to get handled behind closed doors.
Yeah, and of course, Queen April is letting us know that she's praying for all the players involved, because think about it, for the folks that are left to play and you got half of the team being ejected, that what does that do for player morale?
Exactly.
And just
Telling you.
yeah.
And the
So
thing about it is, I told you guys. So again, so I gave for promotional purposes only, and I haven't seen the brackets yet. They don't come out to this week. Then I'll make my comments of where everybody's going to go. But I'm saying that if I'm looking at Iowa is going to be a number one seed. Uh, South Carolina is going to be a number one seed, and LSU is going to probably fall on the number two seed line, and Ohio State's going to fall on the number two. I'm seeing that if they be have an opportunity, Iowa may stay in the Midwest. South Carolina as a number one seed. South Carolina will probably stay in the South as a number one seed. They'll probably send LSU to the West region as a number two seed, and
oh,
Ohio
good.
State to the East region as a number two seed. And what you're probably going to see, Val, if it works itself out, again, as I mentioned, I have South Carolina and Iowa in the finals. I think that Don Staley figured out a way to get past this small bump in the road, and I
Hiccup.
see the girls get back to playing ball.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, this is hopefully things will get worked out in the background, and I don't know, do the schools get penalized or fined or anything when something like that happens? I'm
Yep,
assuming.
yep. So they'll receive a penalty and all that, but it won't stop the play because basically the tournament doesn't start for a week. So even if the school is going to penalize something, the penalty is usually a week, and the tournament doesn't start for a week. So I think that it was cleared out. The ejection, the DNC was called, and when you get an ejection out the game, and I was sitting there watching the game, and I was calling everything from watching the game. I said, hey, if she get ejected, she won't be able to play the next game, and unfortunately the next game is the first game in the NCAA tournament. And
That's what
at
I
this time of the year, Val, it's win or go home. You don't get to lose it and have another game. It's win to go home and sit on the couch and cry about.
and so, like I said, I want to call it team morale. I think what will need to happen is that behind closed doors, no one says coaching or playing for their team is whack. They don't say anything crazy like that. They deal with all of that behind closed doors, and definitely make sure that cooler heads play. Because here's the thing, ultimately, you want to win the game. That's the
Right?
reason why there's referees. There's a
That's why
reason
we
why
play
there's
together.
rules. Thank you. There's a reason why there are coaches, and there's a time and place for all of that stuff. And so I love that the women are getting the, I want to call it, the attention and respect that they deserve. But definitely, I don't, nothing should turn into back in the day, the dynasty where you're fighting like they did back at the late night
Hey,
shows,
Boston Celtics
Dynasty
and the
in
Lakers are
Dallas.
none of that. And that's why we got to get Ty on the show, like April said, because over here, women basketball ain't whack, Ty. It ain't whack. Maybe they playing. You know what I'm saying? They may have to throw a hand or two, but it ain't whack. And I want to mention before we get out of here too, Val, is for those
Mhm.
of you that don't know, speaking of for promotional purposes only, your boy Mike Tyson about to fight again.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
I
talking
think
about that one. We're gonna be talking about that one. Don't even worry about
I feel like that shouldn't happen, but thank you, Kevin, Mr. Springer, for putting it up there. The prediction for out of this house, for Coach Tony, and Iowa's going to be the number one seed, Carolina number one
it. They'll
in
meet in
the
the final. I think you
NC.
have two number one seeds meet in the final. The difference between the boys and the girls, Val, is that the last
Mhm.
4 years on the girls' side of the house, the final four has been 3 or 4, and number one and number two seeds have made it to the final. There has only been a couple of times that maybe a number three or number four, but they've carried like two number one seeds or three number one seeds or one number one and three number twos, but it's been the number one and number two seeds on the girls to make it. On the boys' side of the house, I'm telling you right now, we'll cover the boys next week. And for those that want to know more information, then you need to jump on Monday night for me with your boy, Coach Tony, on the Pull Up Podcast show so I can talk a little bit more about the March Madness. because I already know some of you guys already getting your doctor's notes and your excuses and your leg gonna hurt, your ankle. If you ain't going to work on that Thursday when the tournament starts next week, I already know. So you might as well listen to your boy, Coach Tony, on the Pull Up Podcast show. So you get your promotional purpose dollars together.
Oh my gosh. Our show on tonight as we wrap up Key Spot. Go ahead if you have a small business and would like to get your network and your business out there, sign up for Key Spot. I'll have Mr. Springer place it in the chat for you. And of course, DJ Saved My Life. It is the ebook. It's about my personal challenge, and I want to call it triumph through the pandemic. I became my own DJ and it saved my life. The music and DJing and doing podcasting. If you guys want to read the story, if you guys want to know the ABCs of starting your own podcast, please go ahead, reserve your ebook copy today. It just went to the editors, Coach. It just went to the editors. So I'm hyped. I think that date is actually going to happen. The date is going to be released on the 15th. I'm
That's
excited.
what I'm like to hear. I just want to ask one question about the book real quick before we close out.
Mm-hmm.
Who in the book is whack?
We not answering that question. Y'all see that big, if you can't get I want to call it, do the scan. I love the QR code. I love that the QR code is up there. Scan the QR code, read about it. There's a beautiful description by my writing mentor, Miss Monique Lisa Johnson. She does the whole situation. And I'm telling you, man, this book, blood, sweat, and tears. I cried while I was writing it. So I'm telling you all, go ahead and pick up your copy. And of course, if you want to join our Patreon community, learn more about podcasting, and then of course some behind the scenes crazy with me, join us, patreon.com/interludes. My goodness, Coach, we'll be back on next week, right? Of course, right?
No. Don't even wait to meet us next week. Beat us to next week.
And I want to personally, and thank you so very much. If you'd like to become a sponsor or book time with me, Val the Voice, that's our, I call it our website there, linktr.ee/Pure Light Media. And we're going to continue to celebrate Women's History Month with a great audio podcast being released on tomorrow. Thank you so very much, Queen April, for letting us know. A great show. And thank you so much, Mr. Springer, for putting our affiliate sponsor, Key Spot, by Quality QAP. My goodness. So, Coach, we got to pack up these situations and get on out of here, right?
Hey, man, we're going to pack up. Hey, I'm riding like an Uber. I'm jumping in the back seat.
Well, join us on next week. And I'm telling you, we got some great interviews coming up. And of course, the Pull Up Podcast on Monday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. on the Pacific West Coast. And of course, Interludes Extra presents Talk on Tuesday, next Tuesday, as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month. I'm Val the Voice. That's
Coach Tony.
There you go. And we are out.
Peace.
Peace.